Welcome into the CHGO White Sox pregame show, coming to you live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, the full CHGO White Sox crew in his Cheap Trick t-shirt. That's Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber. The man in the middle is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. We're being produced today by Sarah.
Hello.
Do you like Cheap Trick?
Oh, God.
You just learned about that.
That was my fun fact of the day.
Well, there you go.
I knew more than I thought.
She did. She just didn't know it.
And Herb thought they were British. So,
Yeah.
and she probably didn't see a lot of, Cheap Trick merchandise when she was in London because they're not British.
That's correct.
So there you go. Hit the thumbs up button. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Thanks, Matt Cortese, for hanging out with us. Bill, Chris, Zach, everyone. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Maybe the White Sox will get a win today. They're 3-18. They're starting a 4-game series in Minnesota. You got Jonathan Cannon starting tonight, Eric Fetty tomorrow, Garrett Crochet on the 24th, and then Mike Soroka on the day game on Thursday to wrap up the series. We're going to be talking about the pitching rotation for this 4-game series. We're going to talk about the White Sox call-ups for this series as well and dive into how this roster looks and if it can get any worse. Can it ever end, the pain? It just seems endless. Anyways, the White Sox last night, Daryl Van Schouwen, I think, first reported it, that Danny Mendick was getting the call up from Charlotte, and then we got a DFA announcement for Zach Remillard, and Lenyn Sosa was optioned to AAA, so there's all those hitting moves wrapped up, and then you have Nick Nastrini being optioned to AAA because John Brebbia being activated off the injured list. Which one do you want to start with first, Nastrini or Mendick?
Well, I think the more surprising move was Nick Nastrini. Obviously, Danny Mendick's been hitting well in AAA. Not much of anyone has been hitting well at the major league level. So get a guy who has a hot bat up here, put him in the lineup. No great shakes really that Lenyn Sosa is out of the lineup, and off the team. He's been given repeated big league chances, hasn't really done much with them. So why not see if Mendick can spark things a little bit? But Nastrini is the surprise one for me, just because it seemed him, Jonathan Cannon, tonight's starting pitcher, they were there to get their big league shot, right? And I don't think Nick Nastrini, even though he did not pitch very well yesterday, did anything to halt that big league chance. It just seems that some roster realities and working through the time until Mike Clevenger gets here for the White Sox, they just decided to send Nastrini down so they could activate one of their more important relief pitchers in John Brebbia. So some maybe interesting things that they're going to be doing with the rotation over the next couple of weeks, but Nick Nastrini probably won't be a part of it very soon.
In this series, Nick wouldn't have pitched anyways, but I, like you, were surprised that he would be going down. Now, he has a bunch of options. It was the first time coming up to the major league, so it's no harm, no foul, but I hope when he can come back up here, was it 10 days after you get
15 for a pitcher, yeah.
Okay, so 15 days after you get sent back down, unless there's another injury, right?
Yeah.
He can be back on the active roster, and I know by that time it'll probably be Mike Clevenger time too, but there's no reason for him to not be on this team, to do exactly what he did yesterday. Learn about teams and how hard they can hit you, especially if you let runners on via the walk. Yeah, it was staked to a 2-0 lead, and then just couldn't have the command and control of his pitches, and he learned from that. And there's nothing I think you can really learn in AAA about Major League Baseball that's going to help him out in any way, except for just the confidence of, hey, I'm beating these AAA batters. But when you get back with the major leagues, it's like, oh, no, these guys are much better than the guys I faced down there. Yeah, I feel a little bit better about my stuff, but also these guys are going to be hitting my stuff really hard, and I want him to get hit hard. I want him to learn his lessons. I want him to do exactly what he did yesterday in Philadelphia for the rest of the season. Same thing with Jonathan Cannon. But I know the roster realities are that Mike Clevenger will be up here probably within the next month. And so he or Jonathan Cannon were going to go down sans injury anyway. And so they said, okay, this series, you're not going to be used anyways. We probably can have a better bullpen guy in John Brebbia up here. Sit yourself down there in the minor leagues, pitch on Friday or Saturday in Charlotte, and we'll see you next time that we have an opportunity to bring you up. And I hope by that time he and Jonathan Cannon can stay up here for the rest of the year.
James Fegan's out in Minnesota and tweeted that Pedro said that Nastrini looked good and that he will be back. He was happy and praised Nastrini's work while up here. Is this a thing where you just give him a little bit of rest? Like, do you actually go down and have him start in Charlotte? Or is it, hey, take 15 days off and we'll save all of your bullets for the 2024 season in Chicago?
I mean, I don't know. That seems a little ridiculous to me. I mean, I think you would want these guys to get used to throwing major league, or to throwing a full season of baseball. I mean, I understand that they want to and this isn't even a thing against the White Sox because they haven't said that they're doing this, but a lot of fans have suggested, maybe get rest here, get rest there, shut guys down. Don't you want these pitchers to pitch? Yes. Isn't the whole point that these guys need to be ready to make 30 starts in a season, to throw 200 innings in a season? I know it's a lot rarer than it ever was previously, but the idea, man, I'm sounding like an old man. Stop babying these guys. But, I mean, I don't know. The idea that, we've got to get rest. They need rest. Everybody needs to rest. Just throw every fifth day. And if it's becoming a health problem where you're getting injured because you're throwing that with that frequency, okay. But the preemptive guarding of trying to do this, and then we're stuck with a situation where we've watched a guy like Michael Kopech, who is still waiting after all these years to finally throw a full major league season. Like, at some point, you just got to let these guys go, right? And I mean, I get that, Garrett Crochet, they're going to ramp him up from 60-inning relief season to now he's going to throw twice that, if not more, as a starter. I get that it's a totally different thing, but, these guys are pitchers. Let them pitch.
Do you think they've gone, way too much of conservative, trying to save arms type of thing, instead of these are people who will probably rust more than they'll actually break down? I think they're treating most of these pitchers with kid gloves. Some of these pitchers you need to, if they have injury history, like Michael Kopech, you need to treat him as such. But maybe, Garrett Crochet thinks that he can just pitch a bunch of innings. I would treat him with kid gloves a little bit more than anybody else because he hasn't done it. But for Nick Nastrini and Jonathan Cannon, let them throw. Let them throw all the pitches they can throw and see how they come out of that after that. With limits of not overthrowing him, but yes, have all these guys do the thing. They're young, have available arms, and if they haven't had a major arm surgery, it's coming. So might as well get to it earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't the one that brought it up. I mean, Pedro mentioned that he was they were looking at the workloads of the young pitchers. So not my idea. I mean, you don't have to yell at me.
Oh no, I'm not trying to yell at you, Sean. And to be fair, I'm not trying to yell at the White Sox. Right? They are supposed to know these guys as well as any, certainly way better than me or anybody on the outside. Right? So if they've got legit reasons for doing this, that's fine. I just feel like the guy's made 2 big league starts. He's thrown 150 pitches, and we're already talking about needing to get him rest. Don't you want him to be part of your rotation next year? Don't you want him to be a guy? And I don't even mean him, Nick Nastrini specifically. Just, don't you want some of these young pitchers to be workhorses for you? Don't you want them to be guys who can go out there and make 25, 30 starts a year? That's the point, right? So, why is it this years-long buildup to get them to that point at the major league level? If they're ready to pitch at the major league level, they should be ready to, go every fifth day.
I guess it's just because he doesn't have a true base. He kind of does, since he was drafted and came over from college. Innings of 116 and 114, so nothing that is 150 or anything like that, and guys in college just don't have workloads that are super strong. At UCL, he had 19 and a half innings, and then 15 and a half innings, and then 31 innings. So I don't know if it's just part of being 24 and just getting to a point of a starting pitcher's workload takes time. Like I've never done it, shockingly, and I don't know what it's like for that 24-year-old. And that's again like why with Kopech he had that base. I think he had 4 seasons before this year where he had 114 innings at least of innings. So it's like I don't understand why you're not giving a guy like that a chance, because he's shown that he can be fairly healthy when, working over a long period of time.
I'll also say this, too. I don't think Nick Nastrini got sent down today because they were worried about his workload. It seemed to be a roster situation where, hey, a guy that's one of the best relievers on this team, supposed to be one of the best relievers on this team, is coming back. Who can you send down off the pitching staff that has options left? The guy that's not going to pitch for another 5 days happened to be one of them, and maybe ends up making the most sense in the long term. I get why they did it, right? You're going to send Jordan Leisure down? He's your best reliever right now, right? You're going to send Cannon down? No, he's pitching tonight. So, there's not many guys with options left. They are going to have to DFA somebody eventually, you would think, when Mike Clevenger comes back from his ramp-up period right now. But that they can kick the can on that decision a week and a half or so, 2 weeks, by doing this with Nastrini right now. So I don't think Nastrini going down is anything against him in the White Sox mind, nor do I think they're doing it for this rest reason. They might see that as a benefit, right? As like, all right, we'll send him down there. Maybe he gets 5 days instead of 4 between starts kind of thing. But I think he went down today because he has options and a lot of the other pitchers don't.
Yeah, and I think that what you were talking about earlier, Vinny, it would be good the White Sox have some kind of certainty or kind of know what they have in Nastrini and Cannon in 25, and they have a full healthy season of Garrett Crochet. Then they're like, okay, we have 3 starting rotation pitchers that we know that we can slot in either 1 through 5, and now we need to fill out 2 and 4, whatever they ran into. And so pitching him at the major league level is probably, for me, the only way. And if he gets up past the 116 that he has done in the past to about a 120 combined with AAA and major league starts, I think that's a good ramp up, because nobody's pitching 150. Like, rookies are not pitching 150 anymore. And so 120 would be good. And then next year, maybe you get up to 150.
I'm with my elder Vinnie Duber. Let's go 130. Come on. I mean, what?
Hey,
he can't afford the 15 innings? What are we doing? I mean, he drinks some milk.
Can he get through the 4th inning?
Eat some broccoli.
Like yesterday.
I don't know. Go work out. I've never done it, but I mean, other people have done it.
He's got to get through the tough innings.
These kids and their cartoons ruining their brains.
Well, I would just say, too, so he only goes 5 innings every start. Isn't 5 innings at the major league level every 5th day more valuable than 7 at AAA?
Every day of the week.
That would be my thought.
Well, and hey, like a consistent 5 innings, like, hey, he went out 25 times and gave us 5 innings. I don't think that's an issue. But to your point, Vinny, obviously the options I think is the biggest thing. Who were they going to send down? They DFA'd Remillard, and they've shown many a times that they can DFA Zach Remillard and no one's going to pick him up. Lindeen Sosa had options, and Nastrini had options. And my gut reaction was like, what the fuck? Like, what? Who else are you going to put out there, right? Like, I mean, what else is this 2024 team playing for? If you're going to have Cannon be up on the major league roster, if you're going to have Nastrini be up on the major league roster, why not have them, just be on the major league roster? However, I think I've thought about it a little bit, and there's still 140 games, and I think that's the biggest issue. Is on Friday they're going to likely have Flexen start. That's what Pedro and James Fegan reported from Minnesota, is that Flexen will likely be the starter. And I think it's just about getting that one more start, getting those other 7 innings to fill up the 700 you have to fill in for a season. It's just an unfortunate fact of baseball. I don't think it's really truly on Nick Nastrini and his performance, but Brebbia is a guy you have to call back up because he is making the most amount of money in your bullpen and likely the most effective bullpen piece.
That's the idea at the end of the day, right? Yeah.
Flexen can at least get you to May, and then Clevenger can take his spot. And then if Soroka continues to struggle, maybe Soroka gives you 2 to 3 more bad starts, but he's able to eat up a couple of innings to get you to the middle of May. And then maybe that's when they look to, if Soroka's not cutting it or Flexen's not cutting it or whomever, that's when they go back and look to add Nastrini. Because I think it's going to be his time soon, probably after those 15 days are up or, shortly thereafter. But I think he's definitely a part of the 2024 White Sox with this start. It's just about the options and the logistics of baseball. Because at some point, It seems like Tim Hill won't be on this team. It seems like Chris Flexen won't be on this team. It seems like Soroka won't be on this team. And it seems like Fetty, if he pitches well enough, could get traded off this team. So Nastrini and Cannon are going to be making starts for the 2024 Sox.
Yeah. I would definitely, somebody calls from Fetty, I'm listening. I know he has an extra year next year, and he's been pitching well. But, again, a reliever on a good team, useless, and a guy on a 2-year deal, he might be good for somebody else, but what is really Eric Fetty going to do in the 2025 White Sox when they're still probably going to be really bad?
I think he's going to record the final out of the 2025 World Series for the Chicago White Sox, and you're going to have...
This is a video
20, you know? Oh, I guess.
Okay.
All right. Let's take a break, and we'll let you know about some of our great sponsors. There was... I did see this pop up on my timeline. Yoshi Beer Namalier. It's kind of like a sommelier. I don't know. I don't drink wine.
Delicious.
What?
What's the people that smell wine?
Sommelier.
Sommelier.
There you go. It's that, but for beer.
Oh.
And
a beer sniffer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this guy reviewed Summer Shandy, Leinenkugel, and said, "I would love to drink this beer as my first drink outside in a hot summer day." Isn't that perfect?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Leinenkugel.
They should put that on the side of the can.
I think they should. It's Wisconsin innovation, folks. So if you are looking to drink some beer during this White Sox game coming up, check out our friends over at Leinenkugel. Savor the moment. Check out their great flavors like Juicy Peach, Summer Shandy, Berry Weiss in front of me. You also got Sunset Wheat. With the blueberry. That one's fantastic.
The Lakeside Cherry.
Whether it's rain or shine, you're in the Twin Cities, St. Paul or Minneapolis or Chicago, go have one of the best summer beers out there. Leinenkugel. Celebrate that Wisconsin innovation. Flavor life simple moments with Leinenkugel, the official craft beer of the Chicago White Sox. Go to Leinie.com/CHGO to find delivery options near you. That's LEINIE.com/CHGO, or pick up Leinenkugels pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Leinenkugels, flavor the moment. Celebrate responsibly. The Jacob Leinenkugel Brewing Company, Chippewa Falls.
Yes.
Also want to let you know about our friends over at PrizePicks, the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers, and instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 20 or 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. It is a way to elevate your watching experience. If you are frustrated with this team but are just trying to sit down and watch some White Sox baseball and pass the time, go check out PrizePicks. They have a lot of ways to play, not only baseball, but basketball as well. You got the NBA playoffs going along. They have a boosted prop for Nikola Jokic. Instead of 26.5 points, it's just a half a point. You can just pick more than a half point. Nikola Jokic just has to score 1 point. Seems like a pretty good deal. And then Chris Paddack, I'll take him to strike out more than 4.5 White Sox, and I made that in less than 60 seconds. So go check out our friends over at PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/CHGO and use code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/CHGO and use code CHGO when you sign up. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. I do want to talk a little bit about Danny Mendick. A lot of people are talking about the quote that James Fegan put out there from Mendick today. And one of them was, "This is the best quote since the 2005 White Sox," which I don't even know. What's a quote from the 2005 White Sox?
Winning is fun, and fun is winning. Winning is fun. No, fun is winning, and winning is fun.
Was that 2005?
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, probably.
All
Yeah.
right. Well,
I know Ozzy said it.
anyways, Danny Mendick said, "You got to hit homers. You got to hit doubles. You got to slug. We'll play the small ball when it needs to be, for sure, but we've got to come up there and hit the ball hard."
Danny Mendick for a hitting coach.
Is this the 4-game series where the White Sox finally start hitting the ball hard?
Today maybe, because the pitcher is substandard. Now, the other pitchers on the Twins are probably going to shut the White Sox down, especially that killer bullpen, because I think they're right now one of the best bullpens in Major League Baseball. They got the highest left-on-base percentage in Major League Baseball as their reliever, so they need to get to Chris Paddack and get to him early. Otherwise, yeah, they're not going to be slugging a lot. But I don't know, maybe looking at that Twins uniform, being in that stadium, gives them a little extra juice. Having Danny Mendick up here, who's crushing the ball down in Charlotte, gives them that extra juice to get the couple balls over the fence over there in Minnesota. I'm tired of watching boring, fundamentally bad baseball. I know that Danny Mendick doesn't change that, but maybe he can hit a couple home runs in there to liven it up a little bit.
Since when is Danny Mendick the
savior?
The face of power hitting?
When they lost their 18th game in 21 games.
No. Well, that's just
got 8
my
home
point,
runs.
that it's Danny Mendick saying, yeah, we'll do small ball when we have to, but we're going to go up here and slug. Like, Danny Mendick isn't that guy.
Veteran.
Like, I understand he just hit a bunch of home runs in AAA, but like when he was on the White Sox the last time, he was the small ball guy.
And now here he is, batting eighth as the big slugging bat. Let's look at the starting nine for the Sox, and we'll talk a little bit about Jonathan Cannon, then we'll look at the Twins lineup. Leading off for the Sox, Nicky Lopez at second base, batting second, Robbie Grossman in left field, batting third, Eloy Jimenez at DH, batting fourth, Gavin Sheets in right field, batting fifth, Andrew Vaughn at first base, batting sixth, Paul DeYoung at shortstop, batting seventh, Dominic Fletcher in center field, batting eighth, Danny Mendick at third base, and batting ninth, Corey Lee is your catcher. Herb.
Yep.
Left field is being paroled by Robbie Grossman. We gave it to
Rather
Andrew.
patrolled.
What did I say? Paroled.
Paroled.
I mean,
Robbie
same thing.
Grossman's letting left field out of prison.
Patrolling left field is Robbie Grossman, not Andrew Benintendi. We gave Benintendi a decent amount of crap on yesterday's postgame show.
Deserved.
Is it surprising that Benintendi is getting benched here? Is this a benching? Is this comeuppance? Is this accountability?
No, they're probably going to say it. It's like, oh, I just need a day. He's been playing X amount of games. We need to give him a day off. We got a couple games here in Minnesota, so it's a good time to get him a day. And also, Robbie's been blah, 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 blah. And ultimately, it is not really a benching, but it's also a thing where, hey, Pedro talked in the postgame, like, we missed a couple cutoff guys. Can't do that. And I'm sure he talked to Andrew Benintendi privately, but when it comes to public, he's not going to throw his guy under the bus. And this is kind of good. We talked about it yesterday that you can't have that type of game he had yesterday, both with the bunting, the hitting, and the fielding, and then feel that player is tuned in and locked into the game that he needs to be in. So a day off in Minneapolis to watch the game from the bench will do him wonders. I hope that he'll just get back to regular 2023 Andrew Benintendi. God, we're wishing for the bum that was last year, because the bum this year is extra bad. I think he's one of the worst hitters in baseball right now. If it weren't for his teammate, he would be even worse, Martin Maldonado.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the other Andrew.
He's pretty woeful himself.
I mean, he got a day off yesterday, right, Vaughn? So, I mean, like, this is obviously something that happens when guys are struggling like this. And managers, not just Pedro, but most managers around the game, like to let these guys, particularly ones who have been doing it for a long time, like Benintendi has been, try to get out of it themselves. But there comes a time maybe where they need to step in and say, why don't you just sit down today, focus on your practice. You don't need to go out there. And, I mean, what did we talk about yesterday? Seeing all those mistakes that Benintendi made, very clear examples of him trying to force his way out of the really, really bad start that he's off to. If a day off lets him catch his breath and tomorrow he comes to the park with the mindset of just kind of letting it come to him, maybe things start going in a different direction. I'm sure that's what Pedro's thinking.
Maybe, just maybe. One could hope. I'm just glad I don't have to watch him today.
I mean, he might be substitute in late in the game.
Pinch hitter.
Tough righty.
Isn't that Chris Paddack?
Benny.
Chris Paddack's a righty.
I know. But maybe.
What are we doing?
Robbie Grossman is a better right-hander than left-hander. So maybe there's a left-hander initially. They keep Robbie in, then they go to the righty. It's like, well, it's Benny time.
Yeah, Robbie Grossman's getting paid $17.5 million?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's not. But I'm saying it's Benny time.
Yeah, we'll see. I do want to talk a little bit about Chris Paddack. Then we'll look at the Twins lineup and Jonathan Cannon, who he'll be facing. Chris Paddack has faced the Milwaukee Brewers, who I believe are
Tough.
14-6 and 10-2 on the road. The Los Angeles Dodgers.
Good.
Pretty good. And the Baltimore Orioles.
Ooh.
Okay.
Hella good.
Some three tough teams there. I understand people are looking at the ERA that's above 8, but hey, maybe
It wasn't above 8 in those after the first two starts where it's Milwaukee and LA. It's the Baltimore start that he gave up 9 earned that messed him up.
right. And he looked pretty good last year once he came up with Minnesota late in the season. He was sitting miles per hour on his fastball, 94.3 against Milwaukee, 95 against Los Angeles, and then dipped to 93.9 against the Orioles. If he's able to avoid walks, I think that's the biggest thing for Chris Paddack. We've seen that there wasn't a single Phillies pitcher that had an issue with the White Sox lineup. There hasn't been a real starter that I can think of, maybe outside of Kenta Maeda, who has struggled against the White Sox. I understand Chris Paddack doesn't look too good when you look at that 8.36 ERA and the 24 hits allowed in 14 innings and 5 walks compared to, 9 strikeouts? He doesn't seem too dominant, but I think that this is a get-right game for Mr. Chris Paddack. Am I wrong, Herb?
No, you're not wrong. I mean, I'm sure that he's looking at it that way. He gets a reprieve as you talk about those three teams. If you think about their offenses, not necessarily the Milwaukee Brewers, but the Dodgers and the Orioles, you're like, ooh, yeah, it's a nice rest, a nice relaxation. I can go through this lineup. There's really nothing in this lineup that scares me. Zero guys in this lineup that scare me. I just have to go through the 1 through 9 in Baltimore where they're sitting down their Rookie of the Year candidate because he's struggling early because they have other players that are good. So, yeah, he's probably looking at this like, hey, man, let me just throw this ball over the plate, walk 0 people, and let them hit it as far as they can. And if they can hit me over the fence, cool. But I know that the thing that he is going through his mind right now is this is a get-right game because everybody's looking at the White Sox and their offense as a get-right game. I mean, you can't deny it. They've been shut out 7 times. A history-making 7th time in 19 games, and now they're at their 22nd game. They're going to probably get shut out in this series, too, because they've been shut out in every single series they've played. So Chris Paddack is probably feeling really good about himself. He's like, why not me? Why not Pablo Lopez tomorrow? Why not, the next guy, Joe Ryan? So, yeah, I think this game they're looking at it as a let's get right. But I hope the White Sox are looking at it as like, we're professionals. We get paid. And these people are disrespecting us. Let's go out and batter these people. We can hit. And we just haven't. They just have to have that mindset. They can't be, woe is me.
You think it's a mindset?
We suck. Yeah, you can't just go, oh, man, we suck. I can't hit.
Well, what if they
That's
do
gonna
suck?
lead to you sucking. You got to fake it until you make it. Act like you've been there. You think Gavin Sheets doesn't have his head held up this year? He's like, yeah, I'm hitting. Fuck everything. I'm confident as hell.
Gavin Sheets was a 2nd-round pick. I understand, you got guys like Vaughn.
Yeah, but he was.
I mean,
hitting.
how much can Dominic Fletcher actually do? How much can leadoff hitter Nicky Lopez actually do?
They got to fake it till they make it, man. Right. See a fastball, hit the fastball. Do some things that you haven't done before. Just be better.
Hey, and maybe, that's what Danny Mendick learned. I mean, again, he suffered the ACL tear. We saw that, and I think for our first CHGO takeover. Wow, what an event. We saw him tear his ACL, and I think that him going up and down last year and not being really able to find consistency with the Mets and in AAA, you kind of see him being a little bit maybe more aggressive, going after it and say, hey, I'm going to hit the ball as hard as I can because he's trying to make more of the moment. Maybe some Sox need to figure out, what else are you going to do? You're going to play 142 more games of baseball.
There's a door open, too. There's really nobody coming back until July when Yohan Moncada assumes to the position of third base, but then shortstop and second base are not taking over right now. So hopefully Danny Mendick sees this as a chance to stay at the major league level for a long extended period of time if he does well, like the stuff he's done down in Charlotte where he's hit 8 home runs in this short period of time.
I can't believe that they benched Braden Shoemake after his defensive performance yesterday. I mean, how do you reward a guy? And Zachary, God bless. Thank you for that comment. Sarah, if we could block Zachary from commenting, that'd be great. We don't need anyone to relocate. We've dealt with that with the Phoenix Coyotes. We don't need another team leaving the All-City Network. How about that?
Yeah,
these 3 people, weirdly enough, like having jobs. That's crazy. Isn't that weird? I pay rent too. All right, let's go to the Twins lineup and see what Jonathan Cannon will be doing in his second start in the lineup that he'll be facing. Alex Kirilloff is leading off for the Twins. He'll be playing first base. Eduardo Julien is playing second base. Batting third, Trevor Larnach. He's in left field. Batting fourth, Ryan Jeffers is the Twins catcher. Batting fifth, Max Kepler in right field. Batting sixth, Willie Castro at shortstop. Batting seventh, Carlos Santana, the troubadouring AL Central first baseman DH today. Batting eighth, Jose Miranda at third base. And batting ninth, Austin Martin in center field. Again, Paddack is the starter. For the Twins, Jonathan Cannon will be the starter for the Sox. Is there anybody you're afraid to see in that Twins lineup? Is there anybody that is truly threatening if there's no Buxton or third baseman Royce Lewis?
Edouard Julien. That guy's come up every time I see him lately. He's just hitting the ball hard versus the White Sox. So, yes, maybe he's not a Buxton or Royce Lewis, but, man, not good at all. I am not excited to see him or all those lefties, those nameless, faceless lefties of Kirilloff or Kepler. And they're just going to get some hits that's going to irritate you. I hate this team. This is the team I hate the most.
Out of the AL Central?
All teams.
Cleveland. I hate Cleveland.
No, the Minnesota Twins.
Cleveland and their their old team name and their weird first baseman
like
and
how
that annoying third baseman who's like 5'8", but still hits the ball like Barry Bonds.
I love how they play. I love Cleveland. I wish the White Sox played like Cleveland.
We should put that on a T-shirt. I love Cleveland. Herb Lawrence.
Not the city. The team.
Okay.
City's pretty boring.
Is that a fierce lineup there for Minnesota?
No.
I know that this is the AL Central defending champs for 2023, but that's not a great lineup.
Some smart genius on this panel picked them to win it again. But this Twins team is struggling just about as bad as the White Sox are. I mean, the lineup there, you look at it, this is no offense to this young man, but that's Ryan Jeffers hitting cleanup for this Twins team. They have been destroyed by injuries. Their 3 best players, sound familiar, are all injured right now.
Maybe they should stretch out better.
They have 4 more wins than the White Sox. They have 7 wins. Like, the White Sox are off to a horrendous start. The Twins are not much better.
But still, if the White Sox sweep them
Then
and go
they'll
4-0,
then they'll be tied.
The same amount of wins.
Correct,
So
yes.
that doesn't seem like a win. That doesn't. I don't.
If they won 4 games in a row,
Oh my God!
But
we would throw a party on Thursday.
still only have 7 wins.
So
I'm not trying to.
Was that a vacuuming?
I'm not trying to
Yes.
sit here and convince you that the White Sox are good. I'm trying to convey that the Twins are in a pretty rough spot right now as well. And so this is not exactly going to be David versus Goliath. It's just going to be a couple of Davids out there, I think. And the AL Central, we know coming in that it was not supposed to be a very good division. However, the Cleveland Guardians have gone and become the best team in the American League for some reason. The Royals are playing very well. The Twins right now, with all their injury problems, are not. And you can see you can see just by looking at that lineup that things are going pretty bad for them.
And I get that point, and I get laughing at Ryan Jeffers being the cleanup hitter, but Herb, we also said this when David Fry was the 3rd hitter for your Cleveland Guardians, and I think the White Sox still lost all of those games.
I mean, yes, they're really bad. The White Sox are really bad. I think the Twins are bad, and the White Sox are on the ground. So I expect the Twins to win 3 out of these 4 games. If the White Sox were somehow split this series, that would be the best series they've had in this 2024 year. They have yet to put together 2 wins in a 6-game period. Think about that. They have not had 2 wins in a 6-game period. They've just won 3 games. So if they were to sweep this, ecstatic. If they were to win 2, you should be happy as hell. It's a road game that you're split, a road series that you're split in 2 and 2. Man, anytime you'll take that, especially for a team that's got 3 wins.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to complain about a win.
Yeah,
I will take anything. If we can come on here and I say Sox win, if it's against Paddack, Pablo Lopez, whomever, I don't care. I mean, Brad Radke, I don't care who they beat. Just win a baseball
Everyday
game.
Eddie Guardado,
Be
perhaps.
Great. Any more Twin starters? Johan and
Guardado was a reliever, of course,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Frank Viola.
Shout out to, I don't know. Never mind.
Rick Aguilera was a former Twins pitcher.
I feel like I had one on the tip of my tongue and then it just went away. Oh, well.
Joe Nathan.
Joe Nathan, but he's a
more
closer.
reliever.
Yeah. Anyways, the White Sox so
J.C. Romero.
far. I feel like we got like one that we could. No more? I mean, Rich Hill was a starter.
Yeah. You can go back to Sonny Gray from last year.
All right.
Kenta Maeda.
We really did.
Terry Mulholland was probably a Twin at one point. Is that true?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Terry Mulholland.
Yeah.
That sounds right. He's a Cub. I know that.
Mulholland Drive.
Yeah.
And now I have to Google Terry Mulholland. He threw a no-hitter. I didn't know that. He was on the Diamondbacks, threw a no-hitter on the Phillies. Oh, he's like one of those guys that played for everybody.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
The
he was
Giants,
a Twin. 04 and
Phillies,
05.
yeah.
Let's go.
20 years. That's crazy. All right.
Lefty.
If you didn't think that last year, 2023, could get as bad or you could see worse baseball than you did from the 8-21 White Sox in April 2023, again, they're 3-18. So if they do go 1-3 this series, they will have as many losses as the team from April last year already. If they go 0-4, they'll surpass last year. So that should be fun. And blank name shouts out Nick Punto. So that's always fun as well. All right, Jonathan Cannon, biggest thing I'm looking for today. Can he get more whiffs? Didn't have a great called strike plus whiff percentage last game. It was his major league debut, so I'm not going to be too critical. He was able to get called strikes, but not whiffs. So I will be able to see, I will be interested to see what pitch he does get swings and misses on, if any. He was sinker heavy last time, around 40%. But the main thing, he had 5 pitches with 10% usage or higher. The sweeper looked very, very interesting, and he mainly threw that to righties. Against righties, 48% sinker, 28% sweeper, 20% cutter, and then 4% four-seamer. And then versus lefty, 31% changeup, 24% sinker, 20.7% four-seamer, 17.2% cutter, and then 7% sweeper. So what will his pitch mix look like today, and where will those whiffs come from? And it's interesting, I didn't know this until just now, that he threw to lefties. He threw mostly changeups, 9 changeups compared to 7 sinkers. So do we see him be as changeup heavy as he is as he was in the first game? So we'll see. Anything you're looking for specifics in Jonathan Cannon's start?
No, I'm just looking for him to command the strike zone, throw strikes, and don't let this ragtag Twins lineup get extra bases for no damn reason. So yeah, I want him to attack them like he does back there in his Georgia days. Make sure that he knows that Jonathan Cannon's here to stay.
Hell yeah. All right.
Efficiency, absolutely. That's the name of the game.
Click to pick. What's going on?
Our click to pick.
AJ won and got a T-shirt.
Yeah, I gave him. He chose the Sunday Fun Day shirt, which is part of our new collection. So it's already on the way to AJ's residence. So I'm glad that he played this week. It's NM Nebs. I don't know if she's from Minnesota, but that is her name, NM Nebs. And I'm going with the guy who just got called up, Daniel Mendick.
M. Nebs.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, M. Nebs. There you go.
There you go.
Herb is too on theme today with
Yes,
the Sox being in the land of 10,000 lakes.
Yeah.
M. Nebs also has a twin. Good Twin Cities.
Oh, wow.
It's just
I'm going with Danny Mendick. You're going with Andrew Vaughn because you didn't have your Andrew Benintendi available. And Vinny's going with Eloy Jimenez. And Nebs is going with Corey Lee.
So what's up with Vaughn? Vaughn got a lot of points, and he's still batting 5th. I mean, I think did you
bad.
put Danny Mendick above Andrew Vaughn?
Yes, a slot above him.
That's recency bias.
Yes, because he's hit 5 home runs in the last 5 games he's played.
He's batting 8th.
Okay, that's just Pedro's not smart to put him up in the lineup a little closer. Andrew Vaughn has been hella bad this year. You saw his at-bats yesterday.
Yeah, but Danny Mendick.
You saw no
2
at-bats
days.
from him yesterday.
2 days ago.
I agree. Danny Mendick also stinks, though. I mean, we know that there's been a reason why he's been in AAA for the past 2 years. Part of that's an ACL tear.
The last time he was a White Sox, he was pretty good. In 2022.
All right, we'll see. Hopefully Danny Mendick goes off. I would love to put Danny Mendick in the title for tonight's post-game show. Maybe it will be Andrew Vaughn. We'll see. That's Vinnie Duber in his Cheap Trick t-shirt, educating the youth out there. Follow him at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him at Eckerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. And I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Sarah for producing the show. And we will see you after today's game. Hit that like button on our way out. We will see you later. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.